Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the final session for the Vic South Star Party live stream. We're going to have a Sky for the Night with Perry. And then once Perry has finished his Sky for the Night, we will be heading into the deep sky viewing. We'll do some planetary as well. We'll do some nebula, some star clusters, and we'll got some beautiful clear skies at the moment everywhere. So we will also get to do some galaxies tonight as well. So stick around for that. And the raffle will be drawn when Perry's Sky for the Night is finished. Between that and the deep sky session, we will draw the raffle. So I'll bring Perry in now to kick off his Sky for the Night. Good evening, Perry.
Hello, Mark. Good to see you again. And hello, everybody out there.
So I'll just quickly say, if anyone's got any questions about what Perry is showing us tonight on Sky for the Night, throw a comment in the a question in the comments, and we'll get Perry to answer that as best that he can.
And if I don't know the answer, I'll do what I normally do and just make some stuff up.
I won't know, so it's all good. All right, let's make this full screen and take it away, Perry.
Thank you, Mark. You can still see all that?
Yes, we can. Yep, you can see the whole thing.
Excellent. All right. What we've got here is the southern sky as it is now, but what I will do is I will go over towards the western sky. Let's make all of this how's that? I don't know what that is, but let's deselect it. And we're looking towards the west, and we know it's the west because there's a little W there, and that tells us where we are. Now, at this time of year and with daylight saving in full swing, the sun appears to set later than what it normally does. It still sets at the same time, but we add an hour for daylight saving. Nevertheless, we still have this beautiful figure of the constellation of Scorpius here. And as I've said many times in the past, it is always best to begin your stargazing trying to find new constellations, new stars, before it gets really dark. Do it soon after sunset because it's not as confusing and only the brightest stars are visible. So if we run time backwards, let's see. To sunset, which is about 8 o'clock these days, in Melbourne at least. I think it would be much the same in South Australia. We can see just the brightest objects becoming visible, like this one, for example, up here, which is Jupiter. And a little bit above that, we also have Saturn. They're both quite bright, distinctive, and fairly obvious. And if we go towards the northeast sky, there's another one there, and it's Mars. So they're three of the most obvious objects in the sky. So the planets in the early part of the evening, the most prominent things in the sky. There's a couple of other things in the southern part of the sky, Alpha Centauri and Beta Centauri, and perhaps a crux there, Alpha Crucis. Achernar, up high, Canopus a little bit lower to the sky. They're all stars, however, they're not planets. One of the main differences between planets and stars, of course, is that stars shine with their own light and planets reflect the light of our local star, which is the sun. So if we advance time a little bit, the sun dips under the horizon and more objects become visible. Like I said, Scorpius here with the three or four stars that make up the head of the scorpion. Here is Antares, which gets its name from the fact that it also has a reddish color to it, orangey reddish color, much like Mars does. And here's the tail of the scorpion with the stinger right there. But we should have a look here at Jupiter first of all. We'll center it and zoom in. Let's see. Hold it there. Press the wrong button. And let's try it again. And let's zoom in. And what we see is a disk and 1, 2, 3 moons. Maybe there's another moon a little bit further out. I haven't looked at Jupiter this evening, so I'm not sure which side the moons will be on. This is not a moon. This is a field star and not part of Jupiter's system. Now, it could be that the third moon, let's see, we've got Ganymede here, the largest moon in the solar system. We can actually go in and have a closer look at Ganymede if we want to. And there's what Ganymede looks like. You will not see it like that in any telescope from planet Earth, however. That is an in situ photograph taken by one of the spacecraft that's been sent to Jupiter. The others here are Europa, which is probably one of the most interesting, if not the most interesting moons in the solar system, because it may harbor some sort of life. Now, the reason for that is that Europa is covered in a shelf of thick ice that goes for about 5 kilometers deep, and underneath it is a salty ocean. In that salty ocean, astronomers think it's possible that life could exist. It wouldn't be sophisticated life or intelligent life as we know it, but perhaps simple life forms could exist there. And I believe there's a project on the drawing board to send a spacecraft to Europa to land on the ice of Europa and then release a second space little probe that melts its way through the ice to get access to the ocean underneath the ice, and then a third little craft would be let out so that it can navigate the ocean underneath the ice. Now, Europa has an amazing amount of water. In fact, more water than all the rivers, all the reservoirs, all the lakes, all the seas, and all the oceans on planet Earth. And as we all know, or we like to think at least, water is essential for life. Water is incredibly important because without water, you cannot make coffee. So there's a whole lot of it on Europa, and
So what you're saying, Perry, is I need to move to Europa because I can't live without
Mark,
coffee.
it seems like it would be the ideal location for you. Make sure you take a long life battery for your coffee percolator. So let's zoom out from Europa. And
so just quickly, Perry, Phil wants to know what program are we looking at? So what program are you using?
There's a lot of programs that are available for this sort of work. We call them loosely planetarium programs or software. And there's quite a few of them available. One of them is this particular model, which I really like, but it is one that you need to pay for. However, there are some other ones. Damn, it's gone. Mark, you know, the one.
Stellarium's the one that I use.
Is another one. Thank you for that.
Sky Safari. There's bucket loads of them, but those three would be the best, wouldn't they?
Yep. I like this one though, because to me it gives a particularly realistic view of the sky, and it also has in it Proxima Centauri, which I can readily go and find, which is the nearest star to us after the sun, and one of the three stars in the Alpha Centauri system. But anyway, it's a matter of choice, and this one is called Starry Night. You can get the cheaper, it comes in a number of different versions. You don't need to get the highfalutin bells and whistles one. You can settle just for the cheapest version. It'll work as well as the other ones, and you don't need to have all the functions that you have to pay hundreds of dollars for. So Europa right here, but a little bit further on, if we zoom out, damn. Here is Io, and let's center that one. And you'll notice I did not say Io. Now, the reason for that is because the satellites of Jupiter are named after the lovers of Jupiter in mythology, particularly Greek mythology. And in the Greek, there is no long I sound. It is a short E sound. So it is Io, not Io. So all of these moons are named after lovers of Zeus, and it's Io. And look, if it's good enough for the wonderful Carl Sagan to say Io, it's good enough for me. Let's zoom in on Io because it is a particularly interesting moon. You can see that it looks sort of orangey, and some of these features on here are volcanoes. It is, in fact, the most volcanic place in the whole solar system. When the Voyager spacecraft went by Jupiter, it took a photograph of Io, and that was when the first volcano away from the Earth was discovered, because in the shot there was plumage of an eruption from a volcano silhouetted against space that Voyager managed to photograph. It also took some photographs of the surface like this, but by the time that the Galileo spacecraft got back about 20 years later, I think it was, to get some more photographs of Jupiter and its moons, comparing the photographs that Voyager took with the photographs that the spacecraft Galileo took some 20 years later, it was impossible to recognize any of the features in the photographs of Galileo, comparing them with the photographs of Voyager. And that is because the moon is so volcanic that the surface gets totally wiped by the volcanic activity, and new features are created constantly. So there's no point making a map of Io, because not long after it will totally change and nothing will be recognizable. So let's zoom out of Io, and that's probably not a good place to find life because of all of those volcanoes that are altering the surface. Now, we've seen Io, Europa, and Ganymede. Well, Callisto must be this side of Jupiter somewhere. Let's zoom out a bit more. And it's a long way away, so it appears. Let's center it. And this will make up the fourth of the satellites of Jupiter that are easily visible, even in a small telescope. And sometimes 7x50 binoculars will also give you a view of some of these moons, maybe a couple of the brightest ones, very close in to Jupiter. And they will look just like pinpricks right up close to the disk of the king of the planets of the solar system. So let's move in.
We have a question about, now, is it Io?
Yes.
Is that how you say it?
Io, yes.
Io. Is Io volcanically active due to its proximity to Jupiter?
That is part of it, because its proximity to Jupiter means that the interior of Io is constantly tidally being squeezed by the gravity of Jupiter and kept in a molten and hot state. And there's a lot of radio interaction with Jupiter and Io as well. So yes, very good question, and I hope that answers it. So here's Callisto, and again, it looks very cratered, a lot of pot marks, but the current thinking is that perhaps there is some water on this particular moon as well. If we zoom out a little bit more, we can center on Jupiter, and we can see that there's 3 moons on one side of Jupiter. This is the eastern side, and Callisto is on the western side of Jupiter. Let's zoom in a little bit on Jupiter, and we can see these two belts here. We call them the equatorial bands. They're clouds high in the atmosphere of Jupiter. And right here near the southern equatorial band is the Great Red Spot, which up until recently had been shrinking, but I think it's stopped shrinking. And if you've got a small telescope and you aim it up at Jupiter tonight, if we advance the time and you say, look at it in half an hour or an hour's time, there it is moving. So by about 11:30, the Great Red Spot would be near the center or the central meridian of Jupiter. It's not really red when you look at it visually through a telescope. It's more sort of tuna colored or salmon colored, if you like, when you look at it visually. It does come out quite a bit more red when you look at it in photographs, however. But don't expect to see it as being obviously red, and you may need to wait for really good seeing and use enough magnification in your telescope to be able to see it. Okay, so Jupiter spins once on its axis in less than half the time it takes for the Earth to spin on its axis. So just a bit over 10 hours from memory. So it's a very short rotation period that Jupiter has. So now let's go back to now. And if we zoom out some more, just a little bit higher, we've got Saturn. And I'll get rid of that. Oh, come on, play the game.
It's being difficult, is it? Oh, I think you just got it.
Doesn't like me. Sorry?
I think you just got it and you moved your mouse back off it.
Let's try again. Does it come off? No. Let's try and center. Let's try and deselect. Come on.
It does not want to play ball for you, does it?
No, it's not playing the game. Anyway, just ignore it for the moment. And let's get back to, where are we? Yeah, not far enough. Still not far enough. There we are. Saturn. Saturn is probably the most, apart from Earth, of course, probably the most beautiful planet in the solar system because of this magnificent ring that we've got here. And here's a whole host of satellites around it. This one is Enceladus, Tethys, Rhea, Dione. No, that's a field star. What about this one? No. And this is Titan, over here. Titan with Europa is probably the next most interesting, or if they're not tied, moon in the solar system. And it is the only moon in the solar system to have a reasonable atmosphere. In fact, its atmosphere is so thick that it's difficult to be able to see the surface. However, we did have a spacecraft or a probe land on Titan some years ago and get us a photograph of the surface of this particular moon. Unfortunately, it only managed to get away one photograph before it stopped working for us. And what it showed was what appeared to be a pebbly beach of some sort. Keep in mind, however, that there is no water on Titan, and the liquid that may have been as waves hitting this little pebbly beach is basically liquid methane. Sorry, just letting my cat in. He's making a bit of noise.
Jove's come to the party.
Yes, Jove is in the house. So then, when it rains on Titan, it rains methane. So it's inhospitable to humans, but if we use our imagination and can possibly think of a life form that can survive with that much methane, well, perhaps there may also be some sort of elementary life on Titan. The rings of Saturn, if I center Saturn, the rings are a beautiful thing. They're about 280,000 kilometers in diameter, side to side, from here to there. But the really interesting thing is that if you look at them exactly side on, they are only somewhere between 100 meters and a kilometer thick. And in fact, whenever Saturn is side on to us, perfectly side on, and it happens about every 13 years, the rings appear to disappear, if that's not some sort of torturing of the English language. Let's progress to 2021 and see what happens to the rings. Okay, 2022, they're closing up, 23, 24, and now they're edge on. So somewhere in the year 2025, there will be almost nothing to see ring-wise, certainly not from small telescopes, from Earth.
Wasn't there a song about that in the year 2525?
In the year 2525, yes, yeah. Zager and Evans.
Showing my age, even though it was before I was born.
Yes.
So we have a question from Sergio for you, and we're going to try and actually answer this one tonight, aren't we, Perry? With Pluto. Sergio's saying, "I know it's a long shot, and we might just see it. And might see just a dot, but I've never seen Pluto in my life. Is it up? Is it possible?" And
yes, it is. And was it Kim last night that was taking a photograph?
Yep, and he's going to do the same thing tonight, and we're going to work out live we're going to try and work out which pixel, which dot has moved. And the one that's moved from last night to tonight is Pluto. So yes, Sergio, hang around, because when we get to the live stream stuff later on, we are going to try and do that. I'll let you continue on.
It's great that we've got Sergio.
He's back again. It must be breakfast time over there now.
Yes, all the way from Brazil. There's a really interesting thing that's going to happen to Saturn later this year. It's going to be paid a visit by somebody. I will advance the days one at a time. You can see the moon's changing position from night to night, and you can see the time up at the upper left-hand position. It's November the 30th, 1st of December. Let's keep going.
While you're doing that, if since we've got Sergio from Brazil watching right now, why don't we get everybody who's watching, let us know where you're watching from while Perry scrolls this forward to the date that he's going to be talking about. Let us know where you are in the world at the moment or in the country.
That would be a very interesting thing. I'll begin. I'm in Melbourne, Cheltenham, not far from the beach.
Not far from me. Not far from me, Perry.
You're in Moorabbin, aren't you?
Yeah, Bentley.
Bentley
used to be Moorabbin, but we went up a level. We're posher now. We get called Bentley. So we got someone from East Gippsland.
That's good. All right, let's watch now because it gets really interesting around the 22nd, 23rd. Maybe I'll need to zoom out a little bit more. And have a look over here, Jupiter, and there's Saturn. So on the 21st of December, the two of them, Jupiter and Saturn, will fill the single eyepiece field of a telescope. They will be, let's see if we can measure it, they will be 6 minutes of arc apart, which is really, really close. So if you extend your arm and you look at the width of your little finger at arm's length, then that is 1 degree distance in the sky. So 6 minutes of distance between those is 1/10 of the distance of the width of your little finger at arm's length. So they will be so close that as I mentioned before, for people that don't have the best vision, you will not be able to see two separate objects. They may look like one single star if you don't use binoculars or a telescope. So with your naked eye, if we zoom out enough.
So while you're doing that, we've got guys from Melbourne. Oh, come on, make more memories. Melbourne's not very specific. Renee from Brighton.
Mark, can you make more memories to tell us what his or her name is?
Yeah, we want a name. We want a name now, Mr. or Mrs. or Ms. Make more memories. We need a name. We've got someone from Adelaide. We've got obviously Sergio in Brazil. Renee's from Brighton East, just across the road from me. I'll wave. I'm waving, Renee. We've got Southern Melbourne for Robert, Cranbourne East, Victor Harbour in South Australia, Burwood near Wattle Park, Roger, Seaford, Inverloch, Oatlands in Tasmania.
Wow.
Welcome to the ASSA and ASV live stream to everyone in Oatlands in Tasmania.
Yeah, good stuff. So that's something to look for a little bit before Christmas. Now, let's get back to the current time, which is the 7th of November. We're looking west. We'll zoom out some more. Oops, that's a bit too far. We'll go north.
We have Clive from Canberra, even though YouTube calls him Walter. He says he doesn't know how to change his name. We've got someone from Canberra watching. We've got people from all around Australia watching by the looks of it. This is good.
Now, I've got a strange thing pop up on my screen. Do you see that, Mark?
No, I can't see that, no.
Well, how do I get rid of it? Because it's...
I can't see it. So.
Destroying most of my screen and what I can look at.
You can't move it out of the way, or there's no X button on the top right corner of it?
Okay. Always work. Press escape.
Press escape. If all else fails, read the instructions.
Yes.
So for those of you who are watching, with what we're going to do tonight, the fun stuff we're going to have, the clear skies we've got, I'd say share the stream. Show everybody what we're doing. Let them come and have a watch as well, because I don't know the next time any of them are going to be able to see Pluto live streamed into their homes. That's for sure. Or with the naked eye looking at it at a dark sky side.
All right. Hope you can all see this. I'm just using the wheel of my mouse to get in close. And we've got Mars. Here it's 2 moons. Phobos up here, and which is about 22, 23 kilometers in diameter. Not particularly large as far as moons go, certainly not compared to our moon, which is over 4,000 kilometers in diameter, I believe. But we can zoom in on, whoops, stop. Let's do this again. No, that's not what I want. Okay. Hope it doesn't do the same thing as EO. That would be not a good thing. Yes, it worked.
Now Perry, I just will let you know I might have to pop out for a little second to help Blake do his polar aligning. There's a trampoline in the way, some netting in the way that I might have to just move out of his way for him. So I'll just quickly, you keep rolling along with this. I'll be back in about 2 minutes.
So we're looking at Phobos here, which I said is about 22 kilometers in diameter. And we were discussing earlier in the question and answer session whether anyone had actually seen it visually and the size of instrument that you would need in order to be able to see it. You probably could see the moons of, and here's Deimos down here, the moons of Mars in larger amateur grade instruments or large backyard telescopes, if you like, probably from 12 inches upwards. And you could only do it close to the point where Mars and Earth are near each other. If you do it at other times, it would be an impossibility because these 2 moons are quite small, very faint, and Mars right next to them just kind of blows them out of the sky brightness-wise, and the glare from Mars needs to be somehow eliminated in order to be able to see these two moons. Astronomers use something called an occulting bar, which basically means something that you can put in front of Mars to hide its brightness, so as to make it a little bit easier to see the much, much fainter moons. But Mars here, if we center it, as Joe said earlier today, it rotates perhaps just a little bit longer on its axis than what Earth does for one of its days, roughly almost 25 hours. So if I advance the time, you can see it rotating. And you can see the moons orbiting. There goes Phobos. And Deimos is over here. So a little bit later tonight, it will look much like this. The South Pole is right there. And down here is Olympus Mons and 3 of the Tarsus smaller volcanoes there as well. A little bit earlier though, if we go backwards in time, up at about the 11 o'clock position, we've got Valles Marineris, which there it is here. If we go in a little bit closer, it's like the Grand Canyon, but on a much, much grander scale. The distance from here to here is approximately the distance from Sydney to Perth or from New York to Los Angeles. So if anyone's seen the Grand Canyon, well, you won't think it's so grand if you ever get the opportunity to go on Mars and have a look at.
Didn't we work out in the Mars live stream that it was 10 times the size of the Grand Canyon?
Yeah, yes, yeah. Indeed, Mark. Yeah. The other thing about it that I should mention is the fact that we couldn't see this particular feature with telescopes from Earth. We didn't see this valley, this Grand Canyon of Mars, until the Mariner spacecraft got to Mars, and hence why it's called Valles Marineris, after the Mariner spacecraft. An interesting thing about Mars is that back in the 1800s, late 1800s, Percival Lowell thought that he could see canals on Mars. Now, he read something that Schiaparelli, an Italian astronomer, had written, saying that he could see canali, which, if you're Italian, you would know it means channels. It doesn't actually mean canals. But Percival Lowell thought canali meant canals, and he tended to think that if it's a canal, then it must be made, created, manufactured by creatures. And the whole intelligent life on Earth idea began round about that time, and that Mars was a world that was very dry, and a lot of water via canals was being channeled from the melting of the ice of the Martian polar cap down to other areas, drier areas of Mars. Now, there are whole maps of Mars drawn in with dozens of canals, as Percival Lowell could see them from his observatory at Flagstaff, Arizona, I believe. Now, many years later, of course, when we sent spacecraft to Mars, we couldn't find...
Perry, I've just got to jump in. You started talking about canals, and we've had someone who said hi from the Netherlands.
Oh,
as you said that, the land of the canals.
Yes, good. I hope no one's keeping their finger in the dike for all this time. Yes.
Just quickly, before you continue, just wanted to let everybody know there's 12 minutes left before I shut off the raffle. So if you haven't bought a raffle ticket, the links are on the ASV Facebook page. Better grab one quickly. You've got about 12 minutes left before I close them down and get them ready to draw. So I'll let you continue on, Perry.
Thanks, Mark. I didn't realise time had moved that quickly.
Oh, no, I just saw the time. It's 9:18. So.
Yep. Okay. So when we sent spacecraft over there to Mars, we found that, in fact, we couldn't find any of those canals as drawn by Percival Lowell, but we did discover one thing. The canals on those maps on Mars were, in fact, drawn by an intelligence. Unfortunately, it was on our side of the telescope.
So we've got a question, Perry. Yep. Matthew wants to know, out of interest, how do the moons of Mars compare in size to Earth's moon?
Oh, quite a bit smaller. But one's about 22 kilometres in diameter and one about 12 or 13, I think. Whereas Earth's moon is over 4,000 kilometres in diameter. So very, very tiny and small. So let's zoom back out here. Don't forget, get out there and look at Mars. It's in the northern sky because it won't be as bright as this again until 2035. So let's now have a quick look at what's happening in the southern sky. And here we've got the Southern Cross. If we zoom in a little bit. Oh, no, we don't. Hold on a moment. Hold it there.
Did you break it?
Yeah, almost broke it. We've got the wrong time, maybe. Let's go to now. There we go. It's a little bit further over. So, the pointers are here, Alpha and Beta Centauri, and here's the Southern Cross right there. It's almost standing on its head, and in fact, a little bit later this evening, it will bear a great resemblance to the logo for one of Mark's favourite bands, Black Sabbath.
Yes, so do love a bit of Black Sabbath.
There's the upside down cross right there with the head of the cross in that position.
I blame my father, by the way.
Really?
Oh, yeah, he got me into it.
Well, it's good. Never take the blame yourself. That's my expert advice to anyone. So at about 11:15 this evening, if you've got a clear view to the southern horizon, perhaps looking over water so that there's no hills, no mountains or anything in the way, then you will see the Southern Cross just like that. And the other thing to note is that the Milky Way is all along the horizon at this point. So there's not a lot of it to see until later in the evening or early morning. But in the eastern sky at the moment, we've got some beautiful, bright and magnificent stars and constellations rising at about 10:30 to 11 tonight. And over here is the Pleiades cluster, which some of you may know as the Seven Sisters, and Joe talked about them last night. If you look through binoculars at them, they look a bit like that, and with a telescope, more like that, but you won't see that nebulosity around them. That takes quite a bit of skill or photographic work to do that. In the north, if we go a little bit earlier, and I'll zoom out some more, we have the great square of Pegasus. There's the neck of the flying horse. There's its eye. There's its nostril. If you've got a small telescope and you want to aim it just below the nostril of the horse, you will see this particular object. You may see it as a fuzzy little thing. If you've got a bigger telescope, you may see it like that, as a globular cluster. This is one from Messier's catalogue, a catalogue of about 110 objects, and this is the 15th entry in the catalogue, and we call this Messier 15 or M15. Charles Messier was a French astronomer that made a huge catalogue of these things. Joe would have given you more details about this last night. A bit further over, right here, we have 51 Pegasi, and that's the first star that we discovered to have a planet orbiting around it other than our own sun, or a sun-like star, if you like, the first other sun-like star that had a planet around it. And if you're at a dark sky site, you may be able to see this with your naked eye. If you've got binoculars, you will be able to see it from the city. So what you need to do is to find the great square, which is 4 stars in roughly the shape of a square, and about halfway between Sheet and Markab. There you go, Mark. You've got a star named after you.
I'm famous.
Yes, about halfway along, just to the left of a straight line between those 2 stars. The other famous object here is the Andromeda Galaxy, and that's a little bit below the square of Pegasus, and these stars make up the constellation Andromeda, which is the maiden that was chained to the rocks for the sea monster Cetus, or sometimes referred to as Cetus, that was to devour it, and she was saved by the hero Perseus whilst riding on Pegasus, the winged horse. And right about there is the Andromeda Galaxy, that from a dark sky side, the best view I've ever had of it is in binoculars. It's not much good having a look at it through a telescope, because the best view is in large binoculars. A telescope will not be able to fit all of this object in the field of view, because it extends for about 6 moon diameters in the sky. Moving over this way, we've got the Hyades, which are a group of stars in Taurus that look like an upside down V.
Oh, just quickly, Perry, we've got a
Yes.
question. Is it a good night for the Taurids in the northeast tonight?
Yes. However, the best views will probably be after midnight, but don't expect too many. There's not a lot of meteors to be seen from the Taurids. If I look up the catalogue quickly, you may be able to see perhaps 5 meteors per hour at its best. So don't expect to see many, but if you do see any Taurids, they will be bright and very noticeable, and they will travel a long way. Okay, let's move along to Orion here. Or in the southern hemisphere, we think of it as the saucepan. There's one side of the saucepan, the 3 stars that normally make up the belt of Orion is the bottom of the saucepan. There's the other side of the saucepan, and the handle is over here. This star down here is Betelgeuse, which means the armpit of the giant in Arabic. Don't confuse it with the movie Beetlejuice. It's not the same thing, and it's not pronounced the same way either. So this is Betelgeuse, a large, very large star, a red supergiant, and we can think of it because it does look the same color as flames in a fire. We can think of it heating up the saucepan, and the top here, Rigel, is a blue supergiant, and we can think of Rigel perhaps as the steam coming out of the saucepan. A little bit further along, we've got the brightest star, not to be confused with planet in the sky, and that is Sirius, the dog star. In the handle of the saucepan, or where the saucepan begins, we've got the Orion Nebula. And ignore this one down here totally. It should not be visible at all, but this should be, even with naked eye, would look like a fuzzy little star. So this is the Orion Nebula. Binoculars will show it well, so will a small telescope. But if you could take a 4-inch telescope to a dark sky site, it would almost double its capacity. It would be like having an 8-inch telescope in the city. So one of the secrets to being able to see some of these objects to good advantage is to be able to get away from the lights of the city. Now, I'm not talking about the moon or the planets because they're bright enough not to be interfered with by light pollution at all, but these fainter objects are seriously affected by lights of the city. So that's why we've got our dark sky site about a couple of hours out of Melbourne. Finally, I will show you one more thing, and that is this object right here. I'll just zoom in. And it's M41, a beautiful little cluster of stars that you should be able to find in the telescope. And it's sort of on the back of the dog constellation, Canis Major. Now, unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, the dog for us in the southern hemisphere is lying on its back. So there's the breastbone of the dog, Sirius, and the back goes all the way down here to Wesen. The tail of the dog is here in Aludra, and Adhara makes up the back leg, and here Mersam makes up the front leg. The eyes of the dog are here, Iota canis majoris and Muliphine, and the tip of the dog's nose is Theta canis majoris right here. And the final thing I want to point out is this particular star here. Its catalogue name is H3945. And if you take a straight line from Adhara through Wesson and extend it for as far again and just go slightly to the left of it, you will find this beautifully coloured double star. And you should be able to see two stars. There we go. There they are. They've split into two. One of them is blue and one of them is orange. Do yourself a favour, as Molly Meldrum used to say, if you've got a small telescope, aim at this star and you will see a beautiful object. I think we'll wind it up there, Mark, and I thank everybody for their attention.
Just take myself off mute. Okay, so I'm going to bring, thank you very much for that, Perry. I'm going to bring the other guys in just to say hello. So for our live streaming tonight, we've got Paul from ASSA.
Evening.
Kim from ASSA. We've got Andy from the, Noel from the ASV.
Already. Thanks, mate.
Andy from the ASV.
Today.
And Andy's just hiding in a murder scene there. And we've got Michael, who looks like the devil possessed.
No, he looks like Michael off of Friday the 13th.
He's confused as to who he actually is. Is he ASV or is he ASSA? I think he's both. He's both have become the devil.
Yep.
So
unless he does something terrible and then the ASV don't want to know him.
So this is our team for tonight. So if you guys just bear with me, I've just got to go and grab the last of the raffle. The raffles are closed now. I'd like to thank everybody who bought a raffle ticket. I think we've raised for the Truth Society something in the order of $2,700, which is great news. And now I'm just getting the raffles ready. I've got one ready. I'm just waiting for the other one to get ready. So while I do that, I think that's the one I want. No, that's not the one I want. It's playing up on me, that one, for some reason. Let's go and do the first raffle, and then we can come back to the second raffle. So I'm just going to share my screen, and we'll get the wheel of names. Let's bring it up full screen. So this is, hang on, bear with me 1 second. This is for the Ioptron from Sidereal Trading. So Sadie has come along to spin the wheel. If you want to go to the centre there and spin the wheel and see who wins the Ioptron.
That wheel.
Yes. Who has won it? Oh,
And the winner is
Matthew Teofilo. So Matthew, we will get in contact with you via email. Congratulations.
Hey, I know Matthew. He's one of my
Matthew.
Yeah, he's one of my ex-astronomy students.
Oh, look at that. That's wonderful. Well, there you go. Yeah. So we have one winner. I'll get the other raffle going shortly. But while we do, I'll bring Joe in. Joe's got
Hey, there you go, babe.
He's got the whole family here as well. So, what we might do? Who have we lost? Have we lost somebody?
Yeah, Kim.
Kim.
Kim did a runner, did he? Oh.
He might be around. He'll be back.
While I'm getting the next raffle ready, who'd like to share their? Well, who's got something?
I've got something here. I've got NGC 55.
All right, let's put that on, and you can have a chat about that.
Okay, so NGC 55 is a Galaxian sculptor, and this is 180 seconds of it. It's just been taken. I'll try and the core gets blown out pretty quick, but I'll put that down so you can see a bit more of that. If I just put it up to medium, actually we'll go to low. You can see that there's quite a few other galaxies surrounded off to the left-hand side over here. There's a few little background galaxies, but this is a pretty large galaxy that that's excellent to view and any night. It's quite regular looking, but we're viewing it from a side-on perspective. It actually contains quite a lot of hydrogen alpha as well. So it's a pretty cool object.
Wonderful. Now, Andy, you've got something up at the moment.
Yeah, I'll just stop screen. Stop that. Yep. All right. It's all good.
Sorry, there you go, Andy. What are we looking at here? Is this what I think it is? It is.
A tarantula again, of course. I'm just imaging now. I've just got my guiding going. It's really windy here.
Yeah.
Very windy, but I'm just doing a quick 60-second and see how I go. Yeah.
So, Perry, would you like to talk a little bit about the Tarantula Nebula while Andy does his imaging?
Yeah, certainly. The Tarantula Nebula is a huge, huge gas cloud. It's in the Large Magellanic Cloud, which is one of two satellite galaxies of the Milky Way, and they orbit the Milky Way galaxy much the same way as the Moon orbits the Earth. Now, the Tarantula Nebula, as far as we know at the moment, is perhaps the largest nebula that we know of so far in the universe. But of course, we haven't explored much of the universe and many of the other galaxies in such detail as what we do with the Large Magellanic Cloud. So, if the Tarantula Nebula was at the same distance as the Orion Nebula, which I think is about 11 or 1200 light years away, then the Tarantula Nebula would extend from the horizon almost to halfway up the sky. That's how large it would appear at that distance.
Wonderful. Now, I have got the next raffle ready. So let's go to the next raffle. And Sadie is here to draw the raffle. This is for the Skywatcher. So if you'd like to spin the wheel.
Hey, Mark, can I give Sadie a special message?
You can give Sadie a special message. We'll pop that in. Yep, go.
Sadie, if you can make sure that my name pops out, I will give you a really good Christmas present.
Unless your name is Paul Bunkle, you didn't win. So does anybody know Paul Bunkle? Congratulations to Paul. You've won the Skywatcher mount.
He's a Bendigo fellow.
Bendigo fellow.
Good job.
Sorry, Adelaide guys, South Australian guys. So we've got a Melbourne person and a Bendigo person.
It's rigged. It's rigged. It's rigged. We've been hearing that a lot lately.
I took all the South Australian names out and I threw them away.
That's it. Yeah, I knew that was the case.
Paul, don't you demand
I heard it on Fox News. Everything's false. Everything's wrong.
Everything's false.
At least I did a good job.
You did do a good job. You did a great job. So, Noel, Kim, Paul, if you've got anything, and Michael, if you've got an object you'd like to. Oh, Kim, I think you were going with. You were going for Pluto, weren't you? You were going to do a second image of Pluto.
Yeah, I'm going to do a second image of Pluto. I might just let it get a little bit darker here.
I've got it. I've got it in my scope actually. If you want.
Oh, Michael, have you got it in your scope?
Yep. All right, I'll share the screen. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's doing 47 tuck? That's all right.
That's Noel. So before you share, Michael, let's have a look at this,
mate.
Noel. Joe, do you want to tell us a little bit about 47 tuck?
Yeah, well, I spoke about 47 tuck last night. It's a globular cluster, a big ball of stars, estimated to be around about 1 million stars in this particular cluster. All the stars are gravitationally bound, and the distance, the average distance between the stars is around about 1 light year compared to the average distances between the stars in our part of the galaxy of around about 4 to 6 light years. So imagine a sky, if you were on a planet around on a star in 47 tuck, you would have a sky full of bright stars like Sirius or the planet Venus all over the sky. I'm not sure that you'd ever really get a proper dark night. And it's about 13,000 light years away. So the light that Noel is capturing now left the cluster 13,000 years ago.
So, Noel, can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing at the moment?
Okay, so I've got a 8-inch or 200 millimeter f5 Newtonian, so 1,000 millimeter focal length with a Canon EOS 650D or a Rebel T4i DSLR camera on that. Now that camera's had the IR filter removed, but it's probably not that relevant for a globular cluster. All I'm doing now is using the Canon EOS utility to remotely capture frames from the camera onto the computer, and that's live stacking those frames as they're coming in. So I'm just doing 15-second exposures at ISO 1600. If I go any longer or any higher in the ISO, the core of the cluster just blows out too much. So, I mean, it's blown out now, but it's. I still wanted to bring up some detail of NGC, I think 121, that's just nearby.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
You can see that just up the top there.
Yeah.
The other one. Now, to those in the chat section, in our chat, if there's an object in the night sky tonight that you think might be up, let us know. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cameras that we can point to it at the moment. So let us know, and we'll do our best to get it in one of the cameras, in one of the telescopes. Now, Michael, you mentioned you had Pluto.
I did indeed.
Do you want to share your screen and we'll get that one up?
Certainly. Okay, we have... right, what can you see?
A pixel of Pluto.
That's just a bad pixel. That one, that green one.
That green one's the hot pixel, true. But
Yeah.
that's
Hang on, I've got the same green pixel.
Can you compare the two images, the simulation on guide on the right-hand side? Can you see both?
Yep. Easily.
Yeah. Are you convinced?
No.
Not convinced that it's Pluto.
I'll show you my Pluto.
So what we'll do with Kim's later on is we'll compare last night to tonight and see the movement in the two objects.
Really faint.
What we should look out for, and
I'll get back to it now later.
What we should look out for in the image that Michael just put up is that Pluto is the central one of those three, and it looks
That's it.
a little bit like the belt stars of Orion.
It does, doesn't
So
it? Yeah.
that's what we
That's it.
need to look out for when we compare it with Kim's photograph.
So, Michael, Lee
Yeah.
Green says you need to make it move, or he won't believe you by the looks of it.
Pretty much. Or in about, well, let's have a look. In an hour's time, we'll be able to see where it's moved.
There we go, and we can come back to it, and we can compare yours from tonight with Kim's from last night and tonight, and that'll be a very interesting thing to see.
Yep. No worries.
All right.
Okay, Mark, I've got NGC 7793.
Oh, look at that. So, also, while we are going through this one, Stuart wants to see Mars from somebody, if that's possible, at some stage tonight.
Mars.
So that's on the agenda. There you go.
Sorry,
So
there's another small galaxy there.
So what are we looking at? We're looking at NGC.
That's 7793 right there.
Do you have some information on this galaxy that we can that you can tell us about? So
Not really.
Not really?
It's in Sculptor.
do we need to go to the almighty Joe or Perry to give us?
Yeah, go to the almighty Joe or Perry. Yeah, they can do the. I'm just. I can tell you what it's taken with first.
Yeah, go for it.
It's taken with a 12-inch Ryan Optic UK AG12 with a Luma 693 camera on a PMX mount, robotic from Clayton Observatories.
All right, if you want to know a little bit of information about NGC 7793, as Paul said, it's in the constellation of Sculptor. It's one of the nearby galaxies, only 12.7 million light years away. That's nearby. It's quite large, 9 arc minutes by 6 arc minutes. So it will look fairly faint visually in a telescope because the magnitude 10 that it's supposed to be, all that light is spread over such a large area. So it will appear relatively faint. But that is quite a nice spiral. I think it looks better in pictures than it does visually through a telescope. I have seen it, but the most that I get to see is the central portion of the galaxy. So the bright nucleus and the stuff surrounding it very close to the middle, but those fainter spiral arms, I'll never see that visually through my telescope, and I'm using a 16-inch scope.
There we go. Okay, so we've got some interesting ones being thrown up here, guys. Any chance of Comet C2020 M3 Atlas currently near Orion? I think that's one for Michael.
Probably a little bit later on in the evening. Orion hasn't even risen yet.
No, it's not high enough yet.
Yeah, I'll be doing that from 10:30. So
there we go.
About 11 o'clock would be. So yeah, about another hour.
Perfect. There we go.
Yep. I've actually got. I've got two setups here. I've got my C11 RASA. I'll just maybe swing it around. You might even see it, perhaps, or it might be a little on the dark side. There's the back end of it, anyway. The back end of it.
I love it. All right, so
yeah, 200 mil lens as well. So I've got. I'll be doing the Orion and the Atlas in the same field of view.
There we go. Perfect. All right, so Noel has got Corona Australis live stacking. Did you say, Noel?
Yeah, I've just sent it in on it, and that's the first frame that's coming through, and I'm going to start a stack now of 15 seconds each. So we'll see how that builds up.
While we're stacking that, so Neptune, anyone? We able to do Neptune tonight?
Yeah, I've got Neptune right now.
Oh, look at that. We'll come to Neptune in a second. So, Joe, you were talking about Corona Australis earlier. Last
No,
night?
we spoke about it briefly last night.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, because it was actually one of the fields, an image that was featured in our astrophotography competition.
It was, yes.
Judging earlier this week. And I think from memory, correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, didn't the Corona Australis win a honourable mention or something in the awards?
No, that was M78.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
This field is very, very popular because it's basically the field with the mostest. Almost every type of object that you're likely to see in the sky is featured within this field. There's a globular cluster, there is a galaxy, there's the emission nebula, there are double stars, there's a variable star in there, there's all sorts of things. But again, it's probably more a photographic field than a visual field. Yeah, the globular cluster is easy to pick up, and some of the emission and reflection nebulae with a bit of difficulty, but it comes up much better in a photograph. You can see in the top left-hand corner there, the globular cluster starting to appear quite nicely.
So, Noel, while you keep stacking on that, I want to come back to this one and see a little bit more. Kim, you've got Neptune ready to go?
Oh, I've got a very convincing Neptune. Yeah, it's just pop my screen up.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's have a look.
So that's it in the middle.
Yeah.
And let me just zoom in on it a little bit.
It's not totally white. Oh, look, yeah, you can see a little bit of blue to it, can't you?
Yep, and you see Triton at about 11 o'clock position, just poking through.
Right up the top there.
Yeah, so someone with a bit more focal length is probably required.
Yeah.
Now, if that's not convincing, I can show you my Pluto from last night. But let me. I'll just share the simulation screen. Just hold on a moment. I'll show this. Okay, this one here. So can you see that? I can just put that one back up, Mark.
Yep.
So that's the field of view I've got, and Triton is way in there. So it's poking up at about the 10 o'clock position or so. Rotate, or 11 o'clock if you rotate it around a little bit. So yeah, just it's off to one side basically. Anyhow, I'll kill that one, and I'll bring up the other one, which is my most convincing Pluto. No, not that one. This one here.
Most convincing Pluto of all time.
And, Michael's Pluto. So what you got to look out for here is right back smack. You guys would remember this image from last night with the glare from Jupiter.
Totally. Yeah. I remember it.
So right,
like it was
right in the middle is Pluto. This is from last night, and I'll take another shot tonight, and I'll just show you where it is, so everyone can be convinced thoroughly. See, I've got a green pixel there. It's this one here. You see my mouse cursor?
Yeah. And with Michael's one, it's in between those two bright stars next to it, isn't it?
So tonight it should have moved up about here and be about between these two.
Yeah.
Or maybe I don't have to take a photo. So that's about a minute. That's about 1 minute of art. That's about 1 minute of art from there to there.
I think to see the two of them, two images side by side, would be a really good way to show everybody.
I think I should do a blink comparison.
Yep, I think so. Just to show them, like switch to show them. And I think when you see that star move between the two, that'll really show them.
Well, I'm going to take another image, so I'll probably start doing that shortly. I'll leave you guys to move on to something else.
Sergio's throwing them out everywhere. Can we see any moons of Neptune?
Well, there was Triton there. That was a moon.
Yeah, Triton just poking out. Just poking out the edge there. Can you bring that Triton back? Is that possible?
You want me to do that?
Yeah. Do you want to pop that, and I'll share that screen again? And
yep, I'll do it now. Here we go. Share. By the way, I'm running it on this thing.
He's on his tablet. He's sitting inside with his equipment outside.
Okay, so this is the Triton shot, or Neptune and Triton. So I need to sort of use my fingers on this to zoom in. And it's just at the 11 o'clock position there, just poking out. Just see a little bit of it.
Put your cursor on it, Kim.
I can't put a cursor on my iPad. Oh, hang on. On this side I can. Does that work?
Yeah.
So just there it's poking out.
Yeah, the little bulge at the top there, probably what, about 10:30?
Yeah, about 10:30.
Yeah, about 11, yeah.
10:49, I reckon.
Yeah,
and 45 seconds.
You're in the wrong time zone, Joe.
Yeah, Joe, that's Adelaide time, not Melbourne time.
All right. So we have a question. Can somebody is anybody able to image Helix Nebula?
Well, Kim was doing that last night.
He was. Are you able to do
last night? I went to take some.
I'm doing that now. I'll get something to you in a bit. All right.
We'll go back to Knowles and see how Knowles Corona Australis is going. Look at that. How many stacks have we got there, Noel?
So we've got 21 frames at the moment. It's I guess it's diminishing returns from here on in, but you can see the double star there. Just come in a bit on that.
Oh yeah, yep. Beautiful.
A lot of dust or something dark. There's sort of something obscuring, the stars in the background here. So that would be an interesting target to come back and do some long exposures with a bit later. But I might try and put something a bit brighter.
Okay, so if you want to, Andy's got M2 happening. Let's jump over there, shall we? So Perry, would you like to tell us a little bit about M2, Messier 2?
Yes, it's the second object in Messier's catalogue.
A little bit more information might be handy for the viewers at home.
What
You've had too much of your happy juice, haven't you?
No, I haven't actually. I should have
not enough. Not enough then.
What Joe has kind of already explained about this class of object, I think M2 is about 14,000 kilometres away, but I'm just going from memory. And what happens here is these stars, all, as Joe has said, for 47 Tucanae, are all very, very near each other. And the spherical shape is probably created by the fact that there may be a black hole at the centre of this particular cluster. So that all of those stars are gravitationally bound to the core.
Just one thing, Perry, it's actually 55,000 light years away.
That's what I said, Joe, 55,000 light years away, yes.
I like it. This is good fun. Now, here's an interesting one. Super Astro Nerd would like to know, could we see Robin's egg, NGC 1360 and NGC 1398? Both are in the Eastern Fornax.
That's nice.
Might be able to get that with HA in a minute or two.
It's more a photographic object rather than a visual object. So, guys, did Paul say he's going to have a go at it?
Are you going to have a go at it, Paul?
Yeah, I can have a go at it if you like, instead of the Helix.
It's a lovely object.
Yeah,
it is quite easily visible visually with a largish scope. I can see it quite clearly in my in my 16-inch. Photographically, it comes out as a beautiful blue colour, almost the colour of a emu egg. It's also sometimes referred to as the Fabergé egg.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I've heard that, and I think I have seen this object. Yes.
Yeah.
So it is a lovely object to look at.
There is an image of it on my website, Mark, if you wanted to strip that and put it on. But
Let's
what
do
it looks
that
like
while you guys are tracking it. So let's go and have a look at that, shall we?
And I might duck down to Andromeda. I might just be able to catch it.
That would be good if we could get Andromeda.
Yeah, it's in between trees, but I might catch it. I'll get a reasonable good look at the north here, but it's only up 10.
All right, so let's
11
go back
green.
to Noel. Let's go back to Noel. Noel, what are you looking at here?
So this is the Great Barred Spiral Galaxy. That's the first frame. So I'm just going to zoom in. Whoa, not that far.
Not that far. Let's watch this one. I think we should watch this one unfold. Because what are your length of your exposures on this?
Just 15 seconds.
That little thing there and there.
Yeah, so if we just watch this one unfold, I think all the viewers will get a really good idea of live stacking anyway, and how the picture, like Kim was doing with the Helix Nebula last night, you get a really good picture of how more and more detail coming out of this as it does.
What we should be looking out for is the bright part in the middle is the core of 1365, which is what we call a barred spiral galaxy. What that means is that there's what appears to be, I suppose for want of a better word, a bar that extends on either side of the core, looking a little bit like Saturn, if you like, Saturn's rings. And at the end of each bar, there is a spiral arm curling around. And you can clearly see that starting to materialize in Noel's image. So one spiral arm is going to the left and curling around, and the other one is to the right. And there are not any better examples of barred spiral galaxies in the sky than this one.
So while that's happening, we've got a request for the southern pinwheel. So just put that one on there.
Are we talking about M83?
I think we are, M83, yeah.
Sorry, guys, wrong part of the sky for this
Yeah,
time of
that's
year.
what I was thinking. It's not. All right, so just quickly, we're talking about Robin's egg, and I found Paul's image of it on his website. Can we see that?
Yeah, gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's absolutely stunning, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty faint as a imaging object, but I'll see if I can give it a try at some point shortly. I'm just I've got something else up at the moment, but I'll see what I can do.
Now, what I'm going to do is, if Michael can get his screen going, Michael's got a comet for us to have a look at. Comet 88P Howe. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about this. Well,
I do indeed.
Now, Michael, you have to select.
Whoops.
You have to
Yeah,
select
that's
the
right.
tab you want, not share all. Here we go.
Okay, all right. Is it?
You've done it again. There we go.
Right.
That's better.
How's
All good. We've got it now.
All good. All good. Here we are.
So tell us a little bit about
live.
this image and what we're looking at.
Oh, well, it's basically a 30-second image using a Canon 6D camera through a Celestron
Just
11-inch RASA. So yeah, basically this comet was discovered in the early 1980s and was designated 88P, being the 88th periodic comet. Close approach to Jupiter had actually pushed this into the inner solar system, where it's currently about perihelion is about 1.3 astronomical units. So it's actually relatively fresh to the inner solar system, and so it's currently one of the brighter periodic comets. So it's quite a nice one, but it's not. Yeah.
Michael, can you please explain to us why it doesn't have a tail? It looks like a globular cluster to me.
Yeah, look, you can see it's a green in colour, and that's due to like carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen, and that particular species is diatomic carbon. So these comets are rich in organic molecules and ices and gases. The reason it doesn't have a tail is that it's not that close to the sun. It's generally comets develop tails when they approach within the orbit of Earth. So inside the orbit of Earth is when we get excited about comets that sport tails. So yeah, unfortunately this one, it did actually show a short little faint one about a month ago, but yeah, it's very, very difficult. And not only that, it's also beyond the Earth, so any ion tail would be pointing away. So it's not very dusty either. It's a very gassy object. Like there are comets that show gas, that show nice dust tails. I can show you recent footage of some. That this was the spectacular comet Neowise. See that okay?
Yes, we can.
Yep, that was comet Neowise back in August. They had a fantastic tail on it. That actually became nearly a great comet back in July for the Northern Hemisphere observers.
Unfortunately for us down south, it wasn't very good, was it?
Well, I think this is pretty darn good. The nice tail end of the show, anyway.
You're not as south as the rest of us, though.
No, probably about 3 degrees. 3 degrees different. This was Comet Swan earlier this year in May. The one I discovered that had a lovely tail on it. That was quite spectacular. You can see the full screen there.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Yep, that's great. Yeah. So that's Comet Swan showing a 10-degree tail on that back in early May. Absolutely, that was a cracker. We had Comet Lemon back in June. That had a lovely tail about 2 degrees long, reached about 6 magnitude.
Now you're just showing off, Michael.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Beautiful images.
Yeah, this is Neowise, taken remotely, actually in the northern. I took this from the northern hemisphere using eye telescope. Seeing Comet Neowise, the very good detail in the inner core, showing you can see the actual spiral shape of the emanating from the nucleus.
So then
lots of.
Just quickly there, Michael. So you said you used eye telescope. So there are quite a lot of telescopes from eye telescope in
Siding Springs.
Yes. Yeah. And then there's also the one in Spain, and then there's one in a couple, I think it is in Sierra Nevada.
There's one in Sierra Nevada, and then in this one's from Mayberry. That's the one in Sierra Nevada. Yep.
So do you want to explain
New Mexico? There's a whole host in New Mexico.
I was just going to say, do you want to explain to everyone who's watching what eye telescope is? That's exactly the format that Blake started his astro imaging on, was on eye telescope, because we didn't have any equipment. Now he's got his own equipment, but that's where he started as a junior, was using eye telescope. So do you want to explain to the public, to the guys watching, or the people watching, what eye telescope is?
What it is? Yeah. I can show it to you later. It's basically a monthly account where you can log on depending on the weather. It does cost a reasonable amount. Probably maybe my sessions usually last about 10 minutes, and I pay about $15 to $20 for the images. And yeah, that's about it. Yep.
And there's a whole lot of different telescopes. Obviously, you can get more high-end telescopes or single-click color telescopes.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, you can get cheap scopes or expensive ones.
It's essentially the same thing as what I'm doing right now. I've got 2 remote telescopes, but they're in big sheds, and you just pay for hire time for whatever telescope, and there's different rates for different telescopes.
Yeah, exactly right. And for people who are looking to get into astrophotography and aren't sure about wanting to spend thousands of dollars on equipment, it's a great way to work out if you're interested in doing it, if it's going to sort of tick the boxes for you or tickle your fancy, to give it a go and see if you enjoy it. And if you do, it's worth investing from that point on. That's what I thought anyway, especially for Blake. It was good for him to see, oh, this is how it works. Oh, I'm really interested in this. And now he's down the rabbit hole. So we've got a question for you, Michael.
Yeah, sure.
Michael from Sergio found several comments. It's that you found several comments. Is there a process on this, like pointing to several points in the sky and digitally checking to compare databases? So how do you go about finding a comet?
As in new ones, new discoveries.
Yeah.
Basically, I use SWAN, which is an ultraviolet camera on board the Soho spacecraft, and I basically detect them in ultraviolet and then go out with the telescope and find them on the ground. That's the fun part of it. Chasing new objects. So I don't get discovery credit for it because I'm cheating, basically, using the satellite in space. So I don't deserve the accolades. It's just the fun and the challenge of astronomy.
Wonderful. Now, Andy says he's got a picture of Comet McNaught. Did you take this image, Andy?
No, my cousin David O'Carroll took this from Scott Creek. This is when I used to live in Adelaide. And I remember going down to the beach, Glenelg Beach, and taking a few photos. But
it was epic. It was huge.
It was huge, and this is up at Scott Creek. It's amazing. Like, you just sort of standing there at the beach looking west, and then next thing the sun's sort of going down. Next thing just a third of the sky nearly is full of it. It was amazing. That was sort of back in 2007, I think.
2007.
Yep.
Was it?
2007 it was. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
January.
Yeah. That's the only image I've got. And that's David O'Carroll, my cousin in the Adelaide Hills still. So I'm sort of half SA and half Victorian, and actually where I live is right. I'm only 6 k's on the border, so I'm sort of in no man's land, really. I'm in the middle of everyone.
So you've been COVID tested each week?
Yep. Yep. I love it,
I'm just going to jump back to Knowles. Noel, you've moved. He's moved on us. What is he doing? Where did you go?
Yeah, I went hunting for a region that looked interesting. There's these clusters of galaxies, and I was just seeing if I could actually do them justice with my gear, but it's being a little bit painful. So I was trying to hunt down the Able 194 galaxy cluster. So there's a whole bunch of galaxies in Cetus, and I was just seeing if I could make something of it. But yeah, there's fuzzies there, but nothing too exciting at the moment. So
who wants to explain what fuzzies are? That's my favourite term in astronomy, fuzzies.
Faint fuzzies. They look like little fuzzy blobs, like that one there.
Yeah, they look like
That's
fuzzy
a fuzzy
stars,
blob.
don't they?
That's why they're called fuzzies or faint fuzzies.
Yep.
Uh,
Now,
But
I choose.
in reality, they're usually normally enormous galaxies with billions of
Just at
stars.
great distance.
Because they're so far away, they just look small, faint, and fuzzy.
Indeed.
All right,
Indeed.
so Paul, you've got an image on your screen.
Yeah.
What are we looking at here?
That's Galaxy in sculpted again, NGC 134. It's a fairly reasonable sized galaxy. It's actually in a sort of really interesting field. There's a few other galaxies surrounding in the field. A couple of edge-on ones up to the left up here. And yeah, it's quite a beautiful looking little spiral there. Not quite edge-on, sort of similar shape to NGC 253, but a bit more distant.
Now, Paul, is that that star below and above? Well, the one below the nucleus, first of all.
Yeah, the one in the centre.
A field star, or have you just discovered a supernova?
Well, I can go and check previous image I took of that. Hang on, I'll just go and have a look. I'll tell you. I'm pretty certain it's a field star, but I'll just have a quick gander. Where is it? Here it is. Yeah, it's a field star. It's in directly in front. It's been there. Well, was there the last time I imaged it? So.
Damn, we could have had a live discovery.
That would have been nice. Yeah, I would have been writing a mad email to
that email really quickly. Get that email out
to the Astronomical Union. Yeah. So no, unfortunately not. Sorry, I'm just trying to find it again. There's another little faint fuzzy up there to the just near the top. And yeah, that's it. Someone asked for NGC that I think they meant NGC 300, so I'll go and have a hunt down for that.
Yeah, that was.
I had a look for the robin's egg. But it's getting a bit low for my observatory, so it's about 38 degrees. So I'll hunt down 300 and go and grab that. Someone else is on 1365 or something.
Okay, so we have another one here. NGC 1232. Is it too small or distant for the scopes we've got at the moment?
1232.
It's quite a large galaxy. If I'm not wrong, that's the one in Eridanus. It may still be a little bit too low in the sky to image properly.
Yeah, I could probably get it, but it's about 42 degrees up at the moment. So
okay. Higher than I thought it was.
Let me have a go at 300, and then I'll go get it. All right.
All right, and I want to share a couple of things with you guys. This is Saturn drawn by my 6-year-old granddaughter after she saw it through my telescope tonight.
I love it.
Pretty cool.
Got the ring and everything on it. It's beautiful.
And the other thing I'd like to share with you, if we go back to comets, the one and only comet picture I've ever taken. Here it comes.
Just trying to make saps out of all of us now, aren't you? Make us all look bad. That's a beautiful photo.
That was Comet McNaught, taken from bottom end of York Peninsula at the end of January in 2007.
Well, Lynn, if you're there and you're listening, he promised you the stars and he delivered.
The only trouble is I was laughing too much and I got all blue. My brothers and sisters were there and they're all making me laugh.
So I'm just going to see, Noel, have you got something we can pop on the screen?
Nothing exciting yet. I'm just solving an area at the moment to
Okay.
try and bring up Baby Sculptor.
Michael's got something. What have you got there, Michael? No? Just Michael coming back in. I thought you had something.
Yeah, I've just come back in. Yeah, something happened.
Kim seems to have vanished, so I think he might be doing his Pluto run. So we are without objects at the moment, guys. What have we got? Anything?
Oh, I'm imaging. I've got a comet, Russell Linear.
Ooh. So
So
here's a question for you, for most of you guys to try and have a go at answering. I'm sure you can. Can we view any of the asteroids from Earth? Can we image any of
visually?
The yeah, with telescope equipment. I'm tipping no.
Yeah,
You've got hundreds and hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, I pick up the occasional one here and there. Object I imaged earlier in the year. There was over the course of 3 nights, there was an asteroid that was passing through the region. So what was that one, Joe? Remember I asked you about it?
Yes, I do recall that one. I don't remember which one it was, but I was able to answer it for you fairly quickly that night.
Mm.
Well, the asteroid.
I think the question referred more to can you see them visually? And yes, you can.
Yep.
Some of the larger objects like Vesta and Ceres are quite bright. Some of them around magnitude 6 and 7, so very easy to find even in binoculars.
I've seen Vesta naked eye. That's the only asteroid that's naked eye visible, pretty much.
Well,
Wait until Friday the 13th of April 2028, when asteroid Apophis has an extremely close passage to the Earth, and then you'll see that one naked eye too.
Yeah, might be turn into a mushroom cloud.
Yes,
No, joking. Just joking, everyone. Just joking.
the asteroid Flora is probably the best place at the moment for observation. It was at opposition just a couple of days or so ago, so it should be visible in a small telescope. If someone wants to look up Flora, number 8 Flora, then they can download a chart for it and see if they can find it. Or if they've got a copy of the ASV yearbook, there's a good finder chart of it on page, what is it? Page 74.
So Mandy, Mandy says you're doing a late Halloween trick, and I agree.
Yeah, should have been last week. True.
Yeah. So how are we going for images, guys?
I've got 156p if you want to have a look at that one.
Yeah, let's have a look at that.
This is it's an interesting object. It's got an interesting history. Let's just have a look here. So we share my entire screen again. Is that correct? Yep.
You want to share you can share the specific photo.
How's that?
There we go. Perfect.
See that right? Okay, that one there. Yep.
Yep.
So that's live at the moment. It's got a reasonable tail on it.
Oh yeah, you can just see that, can't you? Just below the bright star there.
Yeah, there it is there. Yep. That's a single 30-second shot. So can you see that?
Yep.
Popped up the other. That's from a couple of nights ago. That's about 5 minutes of exposure. So this object was discovered in 1986 by Mr. Russell on a plate taken by Fred Watson at the UK Schmidt telescope, and all it was a streak on the plate. And then back in 2000, the Linear survey picked it up, and they were able to trace it all the way back to that single plate. So it's got an orbit of about 6 years or so, but it had a close approach to Jupiter in 2018, which reduced its perihelion distance, and this is the first time ever that this is being able to see this visually. I actually got this through 4-inch binos the other night, as estimating at about 10th magnitude. So that's currently in Aquarius, tracking northwards. So that's the second comet for the night.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for that.
Well done, Michael. Somebody was talking about asteroid flora.
Yes.
If I can share a screen, I'll show you the map where it is.
Go for it. Please do.
Okay, it's not that far from Mars in the north side.
It's not working. Can't see anything on your screen, unfortunately.
You can't.
No.
What was that? Let me stop and try again.
Yeah.
Got the same problem I had today.
Application.
Blue.
Did that come up or not?
Let's try that. No, it didn't. Are you using Google Chrome?
I'm using Chrome, yeah.
So it should be working, but it's not. Doesn't seem to want to share.
It worked with everything else, but except
Yeah.
I'm using SkyChart program. Don't know why. I'll just stop again. And I don't know why it's not working. Let's see if I can show something else. No, it looks like it's not going to work for some reason.
No, if you want, you can send it through to me, Joe, and I can try and bring it up.
What I'll do is I'll actually take a screenshot of the whole screen, and then I'll try and share just that shot.
No worries. So Andy
Mark,
has got.
I've got it in Starry Night. So can you see
Yeah,
my?
let's just quickly jump across to this. So there it is there.
Mark, pretty soon I'll have a couple of images that have been requested, so just letting you know.
Yes, beautiful. So before we jump,
There's Mars, and Flora is sort of to the right of Mars, and I suppose it's directly above the Pleiades when the Pleiades come out. But if we go to now, yeah, there we go. There's Mars, there's Flora, and we can zoom in. There it is.
okay, beautiful. All right, so I think we might jump to Andy quickly. Andy's got, whoops, I removed Noel from the stream accidentally. Let's try that again. Too many things jumping around on me. So Andy's got triangulum in his at the moment that he's looking at.
Yeah, it's pretty low, and I reckon I'm getting a bit of red because it's a modded camera. You can see the red channels just coming through.
Yeah, you definitely can see the red.
But in editing, that just goes. It's just because I'm downloading in RAW, so I'm just doing a couple of 2-minute exposures. My guiding's jumping all over the place because it's still quite windy here.
Yeah.
It sounds like windy there too.
I can hear it. I can hear the wind. So, Paul, you said you've got NGC 300.
I'm getting close. Yeah, nearly there. Nearly there.
Yeah, it's quite slow, and normally I mean, I'm quite low in the sky in the northerly objects. I normally keep out of that. I'm just looking here. 19 degrees above my northern horizon, so it's still quite low. I just stuck down to see Andromeda, but I think my camera is nearly hitting a leg of the tripod at the moment. But yeah, I might.
Getting a bit low there.
Well, look. It only rises. What are we? 10. There we go. 10 degrees. Say 12 degrees above my north horizon, so it's not the best, but yeah, everyone always talks about how good Andromeda is, and it is nice to see it with the eyes. It's you can see it on a dark night here. You just look, but normally the north there's a fair bit of air movement, so. But every now and then, around about October, November, about this time of night, and you can see Andromeda with your eyes, naked eyes. It's just because I've got nothing to the north here, which is handy.
So you're stacking there at the moment. I think Paul's got NGC 300 and 1232 coming along. Kim's having some focusing issues. So Noel is currently stacking Helix Nebula.
So is it time for me to tell a joke then, Mark?
Oh, if you've got one, it better be good. If it's not good,
all right, I'm sharing.
If it's not good, I'll remove you. So tell your joke. Go on. No?
No, I don't have a joke. I'm only joking. I've got a joke.
He's joking that he had a joke. That's worthy of being mooted, isn't it? Okay, so Paul's got NGC 300, the Southern Pinwheel.
Yeah, it's pretty faint. That's a 50-second frame. So you can sort of see that there's some spiral arms. You need much longer exposure for that. So, but gives you an idea what it might look like through your eyepiece.
It's still quite a good image, isn't it?
Visually through the eyepiece, it looks like it's got sort of a bit of a detached section to it.
Yeah, to the bottom.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it, Perry. I think it's up to the right up here.
Yeah.
I think
somewhere
here. There's that section there, but there's another blob. I think that might be part of the blob that's just in the center there. Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty cool object.
Still impressive.
But it is very faint.
Still impressive to be able to share a 50-second image of a galaxy that's how far away is it from us?
Several million.
A long way.
Yeah, and you've just 50 seconds with a camera on telescope, and you've just shared it to shared it live on good old Facebook and YouTube. I mean, that's this is what I love about what we're doing here is the fact that we can do this. And like Noel is live stacking images, and you can see the picture getting better and better, like Kim was doing last night.
6 million light years away it is.
There we go. 6 million light years. So you're looking at light that was sent to us 6 million years ago.
Yeah. Yeah,
pretty
all right,
impressive.
I'll go grab the other thing.
How are you going there, Noel? Are we ready to start looking? Start watching it stack?
Not just yet. I've just got it off screen, so it's being a bit pain to censor for me. But it'll.
I've got 13. It's 1232 here. So
yeah, let's have a look at that. It's better than looking at the murder scene in Andy's tent. That's for sure.
Oh dear.
He still hasn't taken that down from Halloween.
Is that the psycho bathroom scene?
That was his Halloween thing. Yeah. Oh wow! Look at that.
There
Beautiful spiral arms.
So who's got some information for us on NGC 1232?
Is this the Spanish Dancer or not? Is this it? Is that what it is? It's called. I think it is.
Spanish Dancer. Another one up. Is that another one up there, up the top there?
Yeah, it's a bit of an interaction going on there. I think it might be a background galaxy as well. So, yeah, it's Pretty cool. It's pretty well stretched badly too. The seeing's it's still pretty low, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, a few facts about it. It's 61 million light years away. Magnitude 10.9. Again, it's very large. 7 arc minutes by 6 arc minutes. Therefore, that magnitude 10.9 light is spread over such a large area that visually it is a difficult object to really see, except for the central nucleus. The rest of it is just too faint really to see all that well.
So it may be a good exercise of the mind to think about some of these distances like this. But this object is what, 60 or 70 million? What did you say, Joe? Was it about 60 or 70?
Yeah, 61 million.
Yeah, okay. So let's say it's about 65 million light years away. If you were on a planet, on a star that is orbiting that galaxy, and you could have this amazing telescope that could look all the way to Earth, and you could actually physically see what was going on Earth, what you would see would be dinosaurs.
That's pretty, when you think about it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jurassic. Yeah.
Jurassic, yeah. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think I can't remember if I've imaged that or not. Maybe. I don't know, it's getting a bit hard to remember now. There's several hundred objects here I've imaged.
Michael, would you like to share your screen with us, and let's have a look at what you've got there? Michael's just let me know in the chat section that he's got something interesting for us to all look at.
Application window, is it?
It is, yeah. You have to select the tab that you want. There you go. The light started travelling 4 million years after the dinosaurs copped it. Thanks, Gunnar.
I'll get rid of that.
Just trying to, let's have a look here. I just
We're going to have to give the ghost of Michael some lessons on StreamYard, I think.
Yeah, probably.
There you go.
So this is live small magnetic cloud. It doesn't look like much, but I'll bring up an earlier combo picture showing
that.
47 tuck and the small Magellanic. So it's that's about 10 minutes of total exposure, not a lot. And obviously the small cloud is not completely in the frame, but this is about a 3x2 field of view. So this, the RASA's a good toy to play around with.
Yeah.
Look at all those little blobs in there.
I wonder if I can, I might be able to zoom in on it. Let's have a look. What do I do with it? Oh,
Michael, it's probably infinitely easier to deal with tilt on yours than it is on mine.
Tilt?
Yeah, both of mine have got tilt issues, and starting to give up. F3.8 is a pain, but F2 with a wider field of view is a bit more forgiving, at least. So
yeah,
I'm just gonna. Oh, you've got 47. Sorry, you've got Tarantula in there.
There's Tarantula as well, and large Magellanic. Part of the large Magellanic.
Part of it, yep. Now, I'm going to jump across to Knowles because he's live stacking. Helix at the moment, and
Oh,
I just
lovely.
yeah. So while you guys, if you guys want to have a chat about that, I'm just going to pop out for a second. I will be back. So have a bit of a chat about Helix Nebula. We were talking a bit about it last night, but let's watch it stack live and talk a little bit about what's happening there. I'll be back in 1 minute.
This shot reminds me a little bit of what it looks like in my good old 13.1-inch Coulter optics telescope. You don't see the color like that, but you very definitely see the shape, and even that central star that is the ring, or where the velocity has emanated from. So it's a lovely view, and I prefer sort of underexposed views, if you want to think of them that way, because they remind me a lot of the visual views that you have of these objects. The Helix Nebula is the largest planetary nebula that we can see, and it's probably because it's the closest planetary nebula to the Earth, to our solar system. Also worth noting, as Joe explained last night, planetary nebulae are a misnomer because they have nothing to do with planets. But when William Herschel first started discovering these objects in the sky, especially after he discovered the planet Uranus, which kind of looked bluish to him, many of these planetary nebulae also have a disk shape, and they have that subtle sort of powder blue color that Uranus has. And so he decided to call them planetary nebulae because they looked a bit like the planets do in his primitive telescope.
Sorry, I'm back, guys. Sorry, into the little boys' room. It's been a long day.
I think Kim has NGC 253.
He does. Noel, do you want to keep stacking that one? We'll go to Kim and have a look what he's got, and then we can come back to yours, because that's stacking nicely, isn't it? Kim, what have we got here? NGC.
The silver coin galaxy.
253.
Yes.
So I've only just started this as 13, I think they're 30-second exposures. That's what I'm doing. So they're just stacking those. So
beautiful. So who'd like to tell us a bit about the silver coin galaxy, Perry?
Yeah. One
it looks like a silver coin?
Yeah, it looks a bit like a coin, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
I can tell you a little bit about it.
I was going to say,
Large galaxy in the southern constellation of Skelter. The galaxy is about 8 degrees south of Beta Cettae, a readily found naked eye star. Of all galaxies, NGC 253 is the easiest to observe.
Yeah.
Can you hear that?
Yes,
oh, no.
Can hear it.
All right.
You were cheating.
Oh, it sounds like you're enjoying it.
I don't know if we can trust you now, Kim.
No, that's my image. No, that was Sky Safari. It says Semestron Audio talking away.
So,
yeah. So what is it? It's a member of the Sculptor group of galaxies. It's the brightest member. And discovered by major discoveries of Caroline Herschel, the sister of William Herschel. So she discovered it back on September 23 of all days, 1783, with an excellent small Newtonian sweeper of 27 inches focal length and a power of 30, whatever that means.
She used to use that telescope to discover comets, and she discovered a number of them.
Right. So visual magnitude, it's 8. I mean, this is really quite easy to see visually through just a telescope. Any size really, but yeah, it does image quite well as well, and you can start to see some of the dust lanes appearing. In fact, I'll try to zoom in on it a bit.
To me, it looks like it might have a bar going through the middle, and it may be a bit of a barred spiral.
Yeah,
potentially.
If I could draw on it, I'd draw. I think I know what you're saying. It's coming from sort of 1 o'clock down towards 7 o'clock.
It's a very active galaxy. It's got jets that emanate from the core area, so it's really interesting object to image it close up. I can tell you that.
This is back into run.
Can someone with a telescope try and image not too far away from there is NGC
288?
No, NGC 247 in Cetus.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to go for the globular cluster nearby.
No, I'll go do it. It's all right. I'm onto it.
Thanks, Paul. I'm more interested.
It's what happens when you got 2 remote systems. Cool.
I'm more interested in seeing if you can manage to capture Burbage's chain of galaxies on one end of 247.
While we're waiting for that, I'm going to jump over to Andy. He's got everyone's favourite, M42.
Look, I've seen that 12,000 times.
You have, but we're here for the viewers now.
Yeah.
Damn, Joe, I've only seen it 11,999.
Well, now you've seen it 12,000 times.
Yeah. So you're one in front of me.
Oh, you two are like children.
Have you seen it with a comet next to it?
Probably not.
Get on with it, Michael.
I'm just setting it up. Give me about 5 minutes, and I'll have the 200 mil on
it. Kim, what software are you using?
I'm using just the ASSA Air software. It just runs on an iPad or some Android thing. It won't run on desktop, although you can make it with tricks. But that's just running the ASSA Air hardware.
Gotcha. Yep.
I had a photo of it in my presentation yesterday. If you want to see it, I can show it to you again.
Yep. Yeah. ASSA Air Pro.
It's the ASSA Air Pro, and it's actually not mine. I've just borrowed it and running it in for a friend. And it's quite neat actually. I've got a Raspberry Pi, and I've got Astroberry on there with K stars. I find that's much more powerful, but it's a bit flaky at times. This is very, very easy to use.
All right, so guys, we have another request. I'm not sure whether it's visible or not. NGC 4244.
Off the top of my head, it doesn't ring a bell, so let me just look it up.
Silver needle. No, it's below the horizon. 4244, it's below the horizon.
Too low. Sorry, Robert. Can't bring that one to you tonight.
Like about 70 degrees below the horizon.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It's almost, in fact, close to 80 degrees below the horizon.
It's 37 degrees north, so not likely.
Well, right now, it says it's minus 79 degrees and 51 minutes in altitude.
Yeah, but I'm just saying
too far
I'm just saying the declination is 37 degrees north, so
you're
never going to see it. So
Where's my PowerPoint?
I'll bring it in. Okay, so we've got another one here, NGC 1316. Anyone able to get that one?
Yeah, I can hit that after I've done this 246, 247 one.
There we go. How's that?
Yeah, that's in Fornax, so easy to get to.
That's the image. That's the image that was named Cannibal.
Yes.
Now I'm gonna jump back to Knowles because he's got a good little stack going there of our lovely Helix Nebula. So what have we got? 26 images stacked now.
Yeah, I've thrown a few 30-second images in there just to try and get a little bit more detail. But yeah, I'm starting now to sort of on that path of diminishing returns, I guess.
So we've got another request, guys, as well. The Cartwheel Galaxy, PGC 2248. Everyone's looking puzzled.
Yeah, that's in Fornax as well, so it wouldn't be that hard, but it's quite a small object, so probably something like Paul Hazy's setup would be the best equipment to use tonight for that.
All right, there you go, Paul. You've got another challenge. So, Kim, I notice you've got your screen shared with your equipment. Did you want me to pop that on? You're muted. You're muted, Kim.
Happens to everyone.
It does.
Yeah, someone asked about the software. If you want to pop that up, I'll just show you the hardware.
Yeah.
So, so you can see underneath the objective here is the ASI Air Pro computer, which a number of people would be familiar with. And that's basically what's doing a lot of the hard work for me. It does the polar alignment, does the guiding, does the imaging, does the dithering, and does lots of other stuff. And the iPad at the other end, sitting inside the house, that's out the front at the moment. You just bring my image back up if I'm not there.
Yeah.
You can see me on the side. So the iPad is basically running that at the moment. And the cable there is just connected to my laptop, so I can project the screen, feed the screen images. But I went outside to set up just wirelessly, just to do the polar alignment. That was pretty trivial, straightforward, which is great. So yeah, it's quite a neat bit of kit for sure.
Mark, sorry to do this, but what time are we going to?
Whenever everybody's had enough, I guess. Maybe another 15, 20 minutes. Would have been going for an hour and a half nearly now. So, yeah, probably maybe, let's say, 11:15. I do have to get up for a hike in the morning, but it's only 15 Ks. It's not too bad. So maybe if we can jump through a few more objects. I know Paul's taking some images now of a couple. Are you, Paul?
Yeah, I'm doing 247, and I'll go and have a look at 1316, I guess.
Yeah, and Noel, are you moving to a new one now as well?
Yeah, Karina's just come up, so I'm going to see if I can grab that.
Oh, that'd be a nice one to have a look at as well. So we'll have a look at those, and maybe one more from Kim. Oh, Kim, have you got your Pluto yet?
No, I had a focusing issue, so I'll have another go at it now. I'll just stop the Sculptor and Galaxy. I don't know if I did do a shot earlier, and yeah, I could see where Pluto was tonight, and it was between those two stars for sure.
There we go, confirmed it.
But let me just see if I can shoot it again. Give me a few moments.
Yeah, not a problem, not a problem. What have we got? We've got Andy. What are you looking at there, Andy? He's muted.
I see 424, but I'm just doing a quick 2-minute exposure
to
bring it out. Yeah, I think everyone should once it comes through, you should be able to picture it. That's just a quick 30-second test. Yeah, just with my gear. It's an old 450D camera, so Canon modded. So that's why my red channel. There's my dog barking away. Yeah,
Protecting you.
Oh, he's sheep. Yeah, whatever. There's sheep
All right,
around
so
me, and
we have a question here. Hey guys, great show tonight. Just wondering, how is a light year measured? Also, any chance of live streaming of any planets? So, who wants to answer the light year measurement?
how far?
Well, I can have a go if you like.
Perry's a guy.
There we go.
There was a guy, an astronomer called Roma, who, when he was observing the satellites of Jupiter, he noticed that they weren't quite in the positions that they were supposed to be. So he got this idea that he may be able to measure the speed that light travels at. And after a number of goes, he finally figured it out, and it's close to the figure of nearly 300,000 kilometers per second in a vacuum, of course, of space. Now, if you multiply 300,000 by 60, that will give you how many kilometers light will travel in a minute. If you multiply that answer by another 60, it'll tell you how far light will travel in kilometers for an hour. If you multiply that answer by 24, it'll show you how far light will travel in a day. And if you multiply that answer by 365.24, it will then give you the number of kilometers that light will travel in a day, which
And your calculator will break.
sorry, which
And your calculator will break.
it will, mine has. And it will be something like 9.5 trillion kilometers.
Thanks.
So the
There you
second
go.
part, the
That's
second part
NGC
is,
247 there, guys.
yeah, that looks good. Can we? Can
And
you
the
move that up?
chain up to the right up here.
Yeah,
Chain. Where are we? Is that back to front?
there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I can see.
Yeah, there's 4 there, and then there's one sort of directly almost above.
Paul, the Burbage's chain is the number. I can see 3 of the galaxies on your image. They are on the right-hand side above centre.
Yeah, they're the ones. Yeah, I know the ones.
Yep.
Yeah, there's actually 4 there. There's 4 of them there. I can see.
Yeah, I can only see 3. My eyes.
Yep.
The 2 bright ones that are sort of like
there's
just
one
off to the right, and
there's
then
a fainter one between them.
Yeah, and then there's one almost off to the right hand side of the frame.
Okay.
There's another one there. It looks like a bit like a star. I don't know why I can't move that. Why can't I move that? Is that because that's here?
I think your camera control's in the way.
Just there.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
There. Yeah.
There's one there.
And there's
one
one next to
there.
it. And there's another
Okay.
And one
That
there.
one. That's the one
And
I'm
then
on
one
too.
there. Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3.
And there's one right in the middle, right above. There's one right in the
there's
middle,
one
right above.
right.
Another star there.
Where am I? I'm just trying to work out where I am on the screen.
You know the one I'm pointing at? I'm talking about, Perry. There's a little star right above the. Yeah, and there's a faint one just above the top there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
About halfway out from the core,
On the right-hand
to
side
the
of the
right,
core.
and then goes straight
Yeah,
up.
just up. There's a star directly below it.
Yeah,
pretty
that's
cool.
the one. Yeah. So it's quite a lot happening there. We've got another question. Question for the Adelaide guys.
Mm.
Hi all. Can I ask a question for the Adelaide astronomers? Here in Melbourne, we have very famous weather. Do you guys in South Australia have more starry nights?
Absolutely. We don't live in what is it? 4 seasons in a
Four
day.
seasons in one day. So
Yeah,
I
but
can,
you have fewer hit songs.
yeah, yep. And you don't
Fewer
have a
what?
public
Hit songs. It was
fewer
a
hit
song.
Hit songs. I know one thing for certain. We have definitely normally fewer coronaviruses.
So can I just want to actually say something to Ross there.
Paul, I should say that be careful when you say that, because we have more coronavirus.
No, they're not ours. They're not locally transmitted. They come in on the scumbag flights.
We've still got them here.
Can I just want to say something to Ross. I think I know the reason why. And until I joined the ASV and gone to the dark sky site, I always complained about Victorian weather. And then I realised it's actually Melbourne weather. And every time, like, we would leave to go to the dark sky site, and it'd be pouring rain, and people would be like, "Why are you going? It's raining." You know, my parents would be like, "It's raining in Melbourne. Why are you going there?" You get over the Great Dividing Range, clear skies, nothing but clear skies. So I think most of our weather issues we have in Melbourne is because of those bloody mountains. They're just getting away.
Mark, that was one of the reasons why the site was selected where it was. And we should thank Steve Paddy for doing the reconnaissance on that one to pick that particular site.
It's okay, Perry. He's probably not watching. He's probably asleep. You don't have to thank him.
He's probably a little peeved that his man is not winning the election.
Oh yeah. All right, so let's go away from politics. We've got a couple more images to look at.
Is a Trump lover? Oh God, really?
Well, I wouldn't say he loves him, but
let's not go there.
That he walks on.
You gotta be kidding me.
Let's not go there, shall we? So Noel's got Carina, as I like to. This to me, this whole area, I like to call it the Ripper Rita Eda Carina 5-star. So if anyone remembers those ads from the 80s.
Maybe we should start here by pointing out the actual star, Eta Carinae itself. Now, it's the brightest star that you can see in this particular image right there. Now, this star is enormous. In fact, only in recent years has it been discovered to be two stars in a very close orbit with each other. And in fact, the main star is probably the next supernova candidate because it has wild fluctuations in brightness. Back in the 1830s, it was in fact brighter than what Canopus is now. So it has fluctuated a lot, and it's pushed out a lot of material from the star itself, and we call that the Keyhole Nebula and the area around it. But being about, I think it's about 5,000 light years away. Joe, do you want to up figure on that or down figure on it? But I think it's quite a distance.
I think it's probably closer to 6,000, but I'm not going to argue with you.
Yeah, well, look, what's 1,000 light years between friends?
Absolutely.
Enough distance.
Yeah, that reminds me of a story. I was at a meeting one time where this eminent solar physicist was giving a talk, and at the end of the talk, this lady stood up in question time and she said, "Professor, Did you say the sun would die in 5 million or 5 billion years? And he said, well, madam, I did say 5 billion. And she sat down with great relief. Anyway.
That is worse than any dad joke I've ever told.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
I'm
And I've told some bad dad jokes.
here. I'm making it up as I go along. So this bit of nebulosity is enormous. In fact, it is the largest and brightest nebula in the whole of the sky, even better and bigger and brighter than the Orion Nebula. However, we hear more about the Orion Nebula because it's what they can see from the Northern Hemisphere. Nobody in the Northern Hemisphere can actually see this object, and if they did, they would call this the Great Carinae Nebula. And it's many times the size of the Orion Nebula. In fact, in my telescope, I have to move the field of view around in order to fit the whole of the nebulosity in, even in my smallest magnification. So fabulous, fabulous object, and you can see it naked eye even from the suburbs of Melbourne. Look towards the Southern Cross, and if you can see the Milky Way, the Southern Milky Way, the Carinae Nebula is the brightest part of the Southern Milky Way.
There we go. All right. So, Michael, can you share your screen? While you're doing that, Noel, can you tell me how many images you've got stacked there at the moment?
Yeah, we've got 44 images, and most of those were 10 seconds long, so they were fairly short because this
short and sweet.
Yeah.
So Michael's got an interesting image of the Great Orion Nebula.
Yeah.
Sorry, Perry, I'm picking on you now. But I think you're going to like it when you see it, Perry, because it's not your normal image of the Great Orion Nebula. There's something else in it.
Okay.
This is taken with a 200mm lens and a Canon 60D A camera. It's quite a wide field, about 4 degrees wide. There is a little faint little object on the left-hand side, but this is a single 30-second exposure. I'm doing about 20 stacks. So I'll show you an image that I took a couple of nights ago.
Comet Atlas.
Earlier.
Sorry?
Comet Atlas.
Sorry, Comet C 2020 M3 Atlas. Yes, so you get out and have a look at it now because it won't be back for another 138 years.
No, I'm going to be old by then.
It's currently, I estimated it at magnitude 7.8 a couple of nights ago. It's got quite a big coma, 20 arc minutes across.
I might be 21 by then, Michael.
Yeah, probably.
So I think I'm there.
So that's the giant coma. This was taken through the RASA. That's a 3-degree field of view. You can actually see some of the Orion, some of the nebulous complex in Orion. It's got some very interesting stuff out there. You can see that, all right? Can you see that little glowy area at the top?
Yeah.
Yep. That's a Struve.
Can you show me that picture with the Orion Nebula again? Not the first one, the second one.
First one or that one?
No, that one.
Look at that. Yep. That's amazing.
Why didn't you send me that to include in the bulletin?
Well, because I'm going to get a better one tonight.
I want that one.
Yeah, it's a bit. It's not all that flash. If you look at the edge of the frame, you can see those stars are a bit trailed. So it's not a very, not the best of shots in my opinion. I don't profess to be the expert astrophotographer. But I have had some fantastic. I've had some fantastic tutorial via Phil Hart this year. So a great shout out and a big thank you to Phil for helping me out with making these photos possible.
So Michael, I'm going to say, if you're going to send that to Joe, I'd love a copy for the ASV for our Instagram and Facebook pages, because
not a worries.
Of all of these, actually, all these things you're showing me with the comets with the galaxies in the background here. So
yeah,
this is probably more impressive to me than the one with Orion in it.
Sure. Yeah, this photo here was taken when Atlas was visiting the Fornax Galaxy Group.
Fornax, yep.
The Fornax Galaxy Group, yeah. At the lower right, you've got NGC 1365. This is a 3x2 field of view. This Fornax Galaxy Group, if you have a telescope, you can see 12 galaxies in the 1 degree field of view, dominated by this very large supergiant elliptical NGC 1399 and NGC 1400. And you can see lots of ellipticals, the occasional spirals. So yeah, that's a fascinating area up in our evening sky at the moment, I believe. And 1365 at the lower right is the textbook barred spiral galaxy.
So now, Paul, did you have a couple of images ready for us to go?
Yeah, I've got 1316 here, and 1317, I think. So
there we go. So what do we know much about 1316, guys? Or
yeah, it's a giant elliptical. It's located in the constellation of Fornax. It's quite interesting because it's on long exposure. You can see that there's all these shells of where it's merged with other galaxies. Now, this galaxy on the right here, that's 1317. That has had a recent merger with 1316, and just passing by it. Whereas 1316 is one of the few giant ellipticals that still presents some. You can see that some dark dust lanes there.
Yep.
And in fact, there is quite a lot of activity still going on with that galaxy, but it's a fascinating galaxy as it is. So distance-wise, let me see. I'll tell you how far it is. It is about 60 million light years away, so it's a pretty big galaxy.
So for our viewers at home, you talk about the dark dust lanes. If you can see there, if you just look to the right from about 2 o'clock around to about 4 o'clock, there's those little dark patches on the right hand side.
Yeah, they're the dust lanes. Yeah,
and there's a few actually around about sort of that 9 to 10 on the left hand side as well.
There are, yeah, around 9 o'clock. Yeah.
So what causes those dust lanes?
You might like to show the final image, the one that you entered into the competition.
Oh yes, can you do that for us? Can we see the final image of that?
I can. Hang on, I'll just go. I've got to open up another browser, but that's all right. Where are we? Find the donkey of the thing. Where is it? Chrome. There we go.
Who's the whistler?
Right.
Who's the whistler?
Me. No whistling allowed. There we go. Let's go find it. There you go. There it is.
Oh, look, Jen's just jumped on board. She's imaging M3 Atlas now as well. Did you word her up, Michael? You did, didn't you?
Must have.
I was just going to say our viewers went up. We've increased 10, nearly 15 viewers in the last 10 minutes, guys. So all the night owls are coming out to play.
They're coming in. Sky Chrome, is that it? Maybe that's it. That's it. There you go.
All right, let's have a look at this, shall we? Oh wow, look at that.
Yeah, it's a pretty long exposure, that one. I think going down the list here, it's 24 hours of exposure, that is. There's some really cool galaxies that are close by too. Within the field, as it were. So
That's very impressive. Yeah, look at them down there, little fuzzies down the bottom there.
yeah, a lot of fuzzies in
One
there.
right down below there.
I'll see what else. There's that cool one there down the bottom left. And a few more around the field. That one there, that's pretty nice too.
Yeah, oh, that's a beauty, that one there. The colour of it, the blue in it.
So the blue colour in galaxies, for people that are wondering,
Yeah, there's a reason for that, isn't there? Yes.
means that a lot of new stars are being formed in those parts of the galaxy, or in this particular instance, that whole galaxy appears to be producing a lot of stars at the moment. Probably about, but we're probably looking at it as it was maybe 70 or 80 billion years ago, maybe further.
Yeah, I don't think it's it might be part of that group. It might be attracted by that elliptical, because that elliptical is pretty big. And you can sort of see that there's all these really interesting shells that are surrounding it. So that's why I called the image cannibal, because it's cannibalized many other, merged with many other galaxies to create all those shells that are there. So yeah, I like those sort of deep imaging targets.
Might
Absolutely
be
beautiful image. What was that?
Might be a good one to finish on, unless someone's got a better one.
I think we've got one to finish on, and unless somebody wants to jump onto a planet, because we did get asked about planets, someone can quickly jump to Mars maybe, or something like that. We'll just do one more after Andy's one. Andy's doing a bit of a live stream of Flame and Horsehead at the moment, live stack.
Yeah. Oh, that's just a single image. And here's one I prepared earlier.
Here's one I prepared earlier. I like that. That's like a cooking show.
Yeah. Well, this one's a bit. This one's been a fair bit.
You're a bit windy out there, Andy.
Yeah. But anyway, that's the live version. You need quite a few, especially with my gear. I need quite a few of these.
You can still make out the Horsehead and the Flame Nebula there quite well.
Yeah, just a little bit. Like,
yeah,
there's a Horsehead. But
that's more like what it looks like visually.
Yeah, it is actually.
Yeah.
I agree, Paul. It's very much what it looks like visually there.
Yeah.
Except obviously without colour.
Okay, I can do that.
Oh, you're gonna make it black and white. There we go. That's more like what it looks like visually. There you go.
Yeah.
So I think Noel has got something. Noel's got a planet up. Kim, you look like you're tracking to something as well.
I finally got that Pluto shot, but my scene conditions are terrible. I'm not going to show you what I've got, but it's.
Do we want to? Let's finish with Pluto then. So I'll jump to Noel's quickly because he's got Mars, and then let's finish with your Pluto, and that'll be it for the night. I think we've been going for quite a while now.
All right. So this is nothing to write home about. But there's that pattern of stars.
Hang on.
Down here. It's now up here.
We're just at Mars first.
Sorry.
Oh, Jupiter. Sorry, I said Mars, and we got Jupiter.
Yeah, the other Mars.
The other Mars. Yeah, the other Mars. So Noel's doing a live stream of Jupiter.
Yeah, it's certainly not the right equipment for planetary imaging, but
you can
we
actually
can
see
just
some
see some
banding there
banding
nicely.
anyway.
So, yeah, looking good. All right, so I think we might quickly jump over to Kim. So I'm going to share your stream, Kim, and we'll. Are you able?
Prepare for disappointment. Yeah, my images have gone real bad. I don't know what's going on
That's
tonight.
okay.
But, it was down around here. This pattern
Yeah.
from last night.
Yeah.
It was down around here. Now it's there. That's actually
Yeah,
it there.
you can
I
actually
get too
see it.
excited. You got it?
Yeah. I can see the three.
As good as it gets tonight.
See those three dots. So, is there a chance you can bring up the one from last night? Is that possible?
Yeah, I can do that now.
Yeah. So if we can,
Just,
that'll be quite interesting to see just the difference from last night to tonight. So I'm assuming everybody watching can see the three dots from tonight that you just pointed out, and then we have a look at last night's. That middle dot will be in a different. Oh, we've lost your screen.
Yep. So this is the one from last night. Can you see that now? Oh, you put it up.
There we go. Yep.
All right. So from last night, a much better scene last night. So there's that pattern.
Yep.
It's
And that's
the middle
that's
one
where it
there,
was
isn't
last
it?
night.
Yeah.
And now it's over in here.
In there.
So it's jumped up. It's about 1 minute of arc.
Well, there you go, everybody. All the people who wanted to see.
See Pluto, a planet. Sorry, a dwarf planet.
I thought we were going to finish on that, but sorry, Michael's thrown a curveball at me and just said he's got one of my favourites. Is it ready to go, Michael? And we will finish on this one, I promise.
Yeah, it's a single 30-second shot though, so nothing to get too excited about. But we'll
it's
see.
Still a beautiful thing to see anyway.
We'll see how we go.
Yeah, share your screen. That was good though, Kim. I liked it. Like you could actually see the difference between the two there. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Michael has got one of my favourites, the Gruz Quartet. Four galaxies.
Very good.
For a 30-second exposure, that's pretty impressive.
Not bad for 30 seconds, eh?
No, not bad at all.
The C11 RASA and a 6D. So the field of view is actually at 3 degrees. So there's quite a lot of area. Oh, what's that? Is that a comet? My God, I've made a discovery. Far out. You never know.
Discovery.
Hang on, I'm sending the telegram off right now.
The telegram, are you using the Morse code, little
It's going to be called Comet StreamYard. You missed that again, Michael. Sorry, mate.
So, just quickly, there's a couple of little fuzzies in there as well.
Oh yeah, there's more than quite a few little fuzzies about. Yep. Yeah. They're the four main
ones. Yeah.
Main fellas. Yep.
And my other favourite is Markarian's Chain. Absolutely love seeing Markarian's Chain. Gruz Quartet is a beauty. In fact, there's another fuzzy there. Yeah, there's another two above it.
Yep.
Lots and lots and lots of stuff to see. I don't know. There's something about looking through an eyepiece and seeing four galaxies visually with your own eyes through a telescope. That's as good as Saturn is to see through a telescope. Seeing the Gruz Quartet through a telescope with your own eyes is sort of like it's Saturn on steroids for me. It's quite an impressive thing.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mark. It's absolutely wonderful to see an eyepiece filled with lots of galaxies in it.
Yep.
I've got just one image to show
as well.
It's just, I don't know, there's something about it that just sort of says, it says we aren't alone to me. Like the fact that there's four other galaxies in one eyepiece, or with Markarian's Chain, it's like 12 or 13 or 14 galaxies in one eyepiece that you can see. Well, Markarian's Chain, I think through the eyepiece you can see sort of 12, but you can't make out those 12. They're there. There's that many galaxies, and therefore, you know, we can't be the only ones around with that much.
Well, Mark, they may not be
show that last one, Mark.
Lockdown.
Yeah,
so
they're in lockdown. That's why they haven't made contact.
4 months.
Show that last one, Mark.
Yeah, all right. So we're going to say goodbye on Paul's image. and I'll pop this one up, and then I'll just end the stream maybe a minute or 20 or 30 seconds after I pop this one up. But yeah, this is the one that I think got most people into astronomy when they were younger. I wasn't so young. I think I was, from memory, I was 37, something like that, when I saw this from the telescope for the first time. So that shows you how quick my journey's been, because I'm only 42 now. This is, here we go, Jupiter.
How could you not say that that's the best object in the sky?
Yeah.
The other Jupiter.
Sorry,
The other Jupiter. The other Jupiter.
It's late. I've been going since 11 a.m. this morning. Give me a break.
You've been streaming and
I've been streaming for 12 and a half hours, guys.
You're going to be dreaming of streaming.
Dreaming of streaming. I'm going to be hiking tomorrow, and I'll be like, oh, has everyone got the link?
That's fantastic image.
Good work.
There's a
Excellent
brilliant
job.
image to finish on. And yes, Paul, as much as I love looking at things like Markarian's chain and Gru's quartet, yeah, that's just, it's a magic thing.
It always looks good in the scope.
It does. It really does. Well, everybody, thank you. Thank you for jumping on tonight and helping out with the stream. To all of our viewers, thank you for sticking around and watching and putting up your suggestions. And to everyone who bought tickets to the raffle, or the raffles, thank you for buying those tickets. You've helped out two wonderful astronomy clubs. And if you're not a member of the ASV or the ASSA, please jump on and become a member of one of those two societies, whichever one is in your area. And I'm not sure what you guys have got live stream wise coming up, but the ASV has got the Christmas barbecue coming up on in the middle of December. Hopefully we'll be able to do a bit of a live stream from our Dark Sky site as well, which will be great. We can do that with limited numbers. But yeah, so if you guys got anything coming up in the next month or so, Joe?
Yeah.
Kim's got something for you. Here we go.
There you go.
They've got the annual general meeting, giant waves crossing the Milky Way. If you can, Joe, if you can send me all the link details on that, I think we'll share that one on our ASV page for you.
That'll be great.
Sure. Yeah. But yeah, so you've got that one coming up on the 2nd of December, and I think it's either the 17th or 19th. Can't think off the top of my head. We've got our Christmas barbecue coming up, and yeah, so thank you everybody for joining tonight and joining over the weekend. Hope everybody enjoyed it, and we'll see you for our next live stream. See you later.
Well done, everybody.
Bye.
Well done, mate.
Good night.